Masterful. Part 4. The Sigil's Glow. Wu blinked rapidly, trying to clear his vision as the blinding light faded. His heart pounded in his chest, his breath shallow. Around him, the audience lay scattered, stunned by the sheer force of the beast's roar and the strange energy radiating from the sigil on its chest. The symbol pulsed faintly now, like a dormant ember, but Wu could still feel its power. It was alive, as if the beast wasn't just a creature, but a vessel for something greater. On stage, Master Han stood firm, his hand still outstretched, a barrier of shimmering wind encircling him like a shield. Beside him, Master Zuo adjusted his grip on his blade, his fiery aura burning brighter than ever. "Zuo," Han said, his voice low and urgent. "That sigil, it's more than a mark. I can feel it pulling at the energy in this room." Zuo's eyes narrowed as he studied the glowing symbol. "You think it's a source of its power?" "I don't think," Han replied, his tone sharp. "I know." The beast let out another guttural roar, shaking the walls of the theater. It raised one massive claw, slamming it onto the stage with enough force to splinter the wood. Flames erupted from the ground, creating a fiery barrier between the masters and the creature. The audience screamed, and Wu instinctively threw himself over Ji, shielding his younger brother from the sudden heat. "Are you okay?" Wu asked, his voice trembling. Ji nodded weakly, his face pale. "Wu, what do we do? We can't just sit here." Wu glanced toward the exit, where the last of the crowd was scrambling to escape. He wanted to run too, but something kept him rooted to the spot. His gaze flicked back to the sigil, and he felt an inexplicable pull. "We stay," Wu said finally, his voice steady despite the chaos. "We have to see how this ends." Ji stared at him, wide-eyed. "Are you crazy?" "Maybe," Wu admitted. "But don't you feel it? That symbol, it's important. It's like it's calling to us." Before Ji could respond, the beast roared again, its molten body surging forward. Master Zuo reacted instantly, leaping into the air with a burst of flames. His blade sliced downward, sending a fiery arc straight at the sigil. The attack struck true, but instead of injuring the beast, the sigil absorbed the flames. The creature's eyes glowed brighter, and it let out a deafening laugh, deep and resonant, like an ancient force mocking their efforts. Han cursed under his breath. "Zuo, be careful. It's feeding off our energy." Zuo landed beside Han, his expression grim. "Then what do you suggest? We let it tear this place apart?" "No," Han said, his eyes narrowing. "We target the source." The beast raised its claws again, preparing to strike. But this time, Han moved first. He spun his hands in a circular motion, and the air around him began to twist and churn. A powerful gust surged forward, aiming directly at the sigil. The wind struck the symbol, causing it to flicker and dim for a brief moment. The beast howled in pain, staggering backward, but its fiery eyes burned with fury. Wu felt the pull of the sigil grow stronger, an invisible force wrapping around his chest. His vision blurred, and for a moment he saw something, images flashing in his mind like fragments of a dream. A burning lake, a great battle, and two figures standing at the edge of the flames. "Wu!" Ji's voice broke through the vision, and Wu gasped, clutching his chest. "What? What was that?" Wu muttered, his voice barely audible. Ji shook him, panic in his eyes. "What's wrong? What did you see?" Wu opened his mouth to answer, but the beast let out another earth-shaking roar, cutting him off. Its claws slammed into the ground, sending a fiery shock wave through the theater. Han's barrier wavered, and Zuo's flames flickered. The brothers were thrown back, landing hard against the rows of seats. "Stay down!" Han shouted, his voice strained. But Wu couldn't move. His eyes were locked on the beast, and for the first time he wasn't just afraid, he was curious. "Why does it feel like it's waiting for something?" Wu whispered, his voice trembling. The beast's burning eyes flicked toward Wu as if it had heard him. For a brief moment, the sigil flared again, brighter than ever, and then it spoke.